The sun hangs heavy in the late afternoon sky, casting long, stretching shadows across the cobblestones of the Via Nova. The air in Rome is thick with the dust of 1,000 footsteps, a haze of golden light that seems to slow the very passage of time. You are walking, not with purpose or urgency, but with the steady, rhythmic pace of a daily ritual. The noise of the city, the shouting of merchants selling salted fish, the rattle of wooden cartwheels against stone, the distant barking of a stray dog, begins to fade into a dull, meaningless hum. It is merely the background static of the empire, easy to ignore. Your destination is the Thermae, the great public baths that rise like a mountain of brick and concrete above the tiled roofs of the insulae. As you draw closer, the colossal scale of the structure blocks out the sun. The walls are immense, a testament to the engineering that holds the empire together. They are faced with smooth stucco, painted in a pale ochre that seems to glow warmly even in the shade. You can see the arches, row upon row of them, perfect semicircles that lead the eye upward to the vaulted roofs. There's a sense of permanence here, a feeling that these walls have always stood and will always stand, silent and unmoving. You step off the busy street and onto the wide travertine stairs that lead up to the main entrance. The stone under your sandals is worn smooth, polished by the sandals of millions who have come here before you, seeking the same respite, the same cleansing heat. The transition is immediate. As you pass through the heavy bronze doors, which stand open to welcome the populace, the chaotic heat of the Roman street is replaced by a sudden, expansive coolness. The entrance hall is a cavern of shadows and echoes. The ceiling soars high above, lost in the dimness, supported by columns of gray granite that are as thick as ancient trees. The air here smells different. It no longer smells of dust and animals. It carries a faint, complex scent, a mixture of damp stone, wood smoke from the furnaces deep underground, and the sweet, oily fragrance of unguents. It is the smell of the baths, a scent that triggers an automatic relaxation in your shoulders, a loosening of the jaw. You walk across the mosaic floor. It is a vast expanse of black and white tesserae, arranged in geometric patterns that repeat endlessly. Meanders, squares within squares, endless knots that have no beginning and no end. Your eyes trace the lines of the mosaic, following the path of the black stones against the white, a simple, repetitive visual rhythm that calms the mind. The sound of your footsteps changes here. On the street, it was a crunch and a scrape. Here, inside the vast hall, it is a soft, echoing tap, 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 reverberating gently off the marble-clad walls. You are moving towards the apoditerium, the changing room. This is the first stage of the transition, the place where the outer world is physically stripped away. You push aside a heavy leather curtain that separates the vestibule from the changing area. The leather is old, polished by thousands of hands, and it feels cool and smooth against your palm. The apoditerium is a long, rectangular hall. It is quieter here, more intimate than the grand entrance. The light filters in from high lunette windows, dusty beams of sunlight that illuminate floating motes of dust, dancing slowly in the still air. Along the walls, there are rows of stone benches, simple and solid. Above them, carved directly into the stone of the wall, are square niches, cubbies where citizens store their tunics, their togas, their sandals. You find an empty spot on a bench. The stone is cool against your legs. You sit for a moment, just breathing, letting the atmosphere of the room settle over you. Around you, other men are doing the same. There is very little conversation. The social chatter happens elsewhere, in the exercise yards or the gardens. Here, in the changing room, there's a quiet focus on the act of undressing. You hear the rustle of fabric, the soft thud of a sandal dropping to the floor, the clink of a bronze buckle. You begin to untie the leather straps of your sandals. The leather is stiff and warm from the day's walk. You unloop the knot, pull the strap free, and slide your foot out. The sensation of the cool stone floor against your bare sole is grounding. It connects you to the building, to the earth. You repeat the process with the other foot. Slow, deliberate. There is no rush. The baths are not a place for haste. Next, you stand to remove your tunic. The linen is rough against your skin, damp with the perspiration of the Roman summer. You pull it over your head, feeling the brief restriction of the fabric before it clears your face, leaving you exposed to the air. The air in the apoditerium is tepid, neither hot nor cold, a neutral temperature designed to prepare the body for the extremes to come. You fold the tunic carefully, first in half, then in quarters. You smooth out the wrinkles with the palm of your hand, a repetitive motion that requires just enough attention to keep your mind from wandering back to the worries of the day. You place your folded clothes and your sandals into one of the open niches in the wall. You look for the capsarius, the slave responsible for watching the belongings. He sits on a stool in the corner, a bored expression on his face. You catch his eye, and he gives a nearly imperceptible nod. He has seen you. He knows which niche is yours. It is a silent transaction, a routine acknowledgement of trust in this public space. Now, you are ready. You are carrying only two things: a small flask of olive oil, stoppered with a piece of cork, and a strigil, a curved metal tool made of bronze, hanging from a leather loop around your wrist. The bronze of the strigil is cool and heavy, a comforting weight. You stand there for a moment longer, naked among the other bathers. There is no shame here, no self-consciousness. The human body is just another part of the architecture, another natural form in a room of stone and water. You look towards the doorway at the far end of the room. Through it, you can see a faint wisp of steam curling in the air, and you can hear the muffled sound of splashing water. That is the way forward. That is the path to the heat. But before the heat, there is the preparation. You take a deep breath, inhaling the scent of the room, the leather, the stone, the faint lingering smell of sweat and olive oil. You step away from the bench, your bare feet silent on the mosaic floor. You move slowly towards the heavy wooden door that leads deeper into the complex. The wood is dark, stained by years of humidity. You reach out and push it open. The hinges are well oiled. The door swings inward silently, revealing a rush of warmer air that brushes against your face like a soft, heavy blanket. You are leaving the apoditerium. You have shed the clothes of your station, the markers of your rank, the dust of the street. You are no longer a merchant, a soldier, or a senator. You are simply a bather, entering the sanctuary of the water. The first room awaits, the palestra and the ritual of oil. You step through the doorway and emerge into the open air of the palestra. After the dim, enclosed quiet of the changing room, the brightness here is sudden, though the sun has dipped lower in the sky, losing its midday ferocity. This is a vast, open courtyard, a square of earth and sand surrounded on all four sides by a covered portico. The noise of the city is completely gone now, replaced by the specific, contained sounds of the gymnasium. You pause under the shade of the colonnade. The columns here are different from the ones in the entrance hall. They are fluted, the grooves running vertically from base to capital, catching the light in alternating stripes of white marble and gray shadow. You reach out and touch the stone of a column. It is warm, having absorbed the heat of the day, retaining it like a living thing. You step out from the shade and onto the sand of the exercise ground. The ground is soft and yielding under your bare feet. It is warm, dry sand, shifting slightly with every step you take, molding itself to the shape of your soles. It feels gritty and real. You walk towards a patch of sunlight near the center of the yard, away from the more active groups of men who are wrestling or throwing heavy leather balls. You are not here for vigorous exertion today. You are here for the slow rhythm of preparation. You find a quiet space and stop. You stand still, letting the sun wash over your bare skin. It feels heavy and pleasant, a gentle pressure on your shoulders and back. The air here is still, protected from the wind by the high walls of the bath complex. You lift the small ceramic flask of olive oil you brought with you. The ceramic is smooth, glazed in a dull terracotta red. It feels cool in your hand. You grip the small piece of cork that stoppers the neck of the flask. With a slow, twisting motion, you pull it free. A faint pop sounds as the seal is broken. Immediately, the scent of the oil reaches you. It is a rich, earthy smell, green and thick, smelling of the sun-baked hills of the Italian countryside. You tilt the flask slowly. The oil is viscous, moving sluggishly like honey. You watch a single, heavy drop form at the lip of the flask, hanging there for a second, catching the light like a jewel before it falls into the palm of your left hand. You pour more, a steady golden stream that pools in the cup of your hand. It feels cool against your skin, a stark contrast to the warmth of the sun. You set the flask down on a low stone ledge nearby. Now, the work begins. You rub your palms together, spreading the oil, warming it with the friction of your skin. The sound is a soft, wet friction. Slap, rub, slide. You begin with your arms. You run your oiled hand down the length of your left forearm, from the elbow to the wrist. You press down firmly, feeling the muscle beneath the skin. The oil eliminates all friction, allowing your hand to glide effortlessly. You repeat the motion, down, up, down, up. You watch your skin change. Where it was dry and pale, it is now glistening and golden. It catches the sunlight, shining with a wet sheen. You move to your shoulders, working the oil into the deltoids, kneading away the tension of carrying things, of walking, of existing in the city. The repetitive motion is hypnotic. There is no need to think about the movement. Your hands know what to do. They follow the contours of your body, coating every inch in a protective layer of gold. You move to your chest, then your legs. The oil feels heavy, a second skin that separates you from the air. It is a barrier. It seals in the heat. It prepares you for the sweat to come. You take your time. There is no one rushing you. This is a standard part of the ritual, performed by every man in the palestra. Some have slaves to do this for them, vigorous hands rubbing and slapping the flesh. But you are doing it yourself today, in a slow, meditative silence. As you work the oil into your calves, you look around the courtyard. The The scene is like a painting that moves in slow motion. Near the far colonnade, two men are wrestling. They are locked together, arms gripping shoulders, feet digging into the sand. But from this distance, you do not hear their grunts or their breathing. You only see the shapes of their bodies, the tension in their legs, the dust rising in small puffs around their ankles as they shift their weight. It is a silent dance. Further away, a group is playing with a harpastum, a small, hard ball. They toss it back and forth. You hear the dull thud as the ball hits a hand, then the soft swish of an arm throwing it back. The rhythm is irregular but soothing. Thud, pause, thud, pause. The dust motes dance in the shafts of light that cut between the columns. The entire world seems suspended in this golden late afternoon haze. You are fully anointed now. Your skin feels heavy, weighted down by the oil. You feel insulated. The breeze that drifts across the palestra no longer cools you directly. It glides over the oil. You pick up your strigil from where you left it on the ledge, looping the leather strap back around your wrist. The metal clinks softly against the ceramic flask as you pick that up too. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with the dusty, warm air of the courtyard. You are done with the outside world. The sun is pleasant, but the true heat, the deep, penetrating heat of the baths, calls to you from inside. You turn away from the exercise yard, your oiled feet leaving distinct, smooth impressions in the sand. You walk back towards the shadows of the portico. The transition from the bright sun to the shade is sharper now. You feel the coolness of the stone floor under your feet as you step off the sand. Ahead of you lies a different door. This one is smaller than the main entrance, and it seems to radiate a gentle warmth even from a distance. Above the doorway, a stone carving depicts the face of a river god, water flowing from his beard. This is the entrance to the tepidarium, the warm room. It is the threshold between the world of air and the world of steam. You approach the door. You can hear the faint sound of conversation from within, muffled and low. You pause for one last second, looking back at the bright rectangle of the palestra, the blue sky, the golden light. Then you step forward, pushing into the semi-darkness, leaving the day behind completely. The warmth of the tepidarium. The heavy wooden door closes behind you with a soft, dull thud, sealing out the bright, airy world of the palestra. You are now in the tepidarium. The change in atmosphere is immediate, but it is not a shock. It is a gentle, welcoming embrace. The air here is not hot, not yet. It is pleasantly warm, hovering at the temperature of human skin, perhaps a degree or two warmer. It feels like a soft blanket has been draped over your shoulders, weightless and comforting. The light in this room is dim. There are no large windows looking out onto the sky. Instead, the light comes from small rectangular openings high up in the vaulted ceiling, covered with thick, translucent glass. The glass is a pale green, like the bottom of a wine bottle, and it diffuses the sunlight into a soft, underwater glow. Shadows in the corners of the room are deep and fuzzy. There are no sharp edges here. Everything seems softened by the warmth and the dimness. You take a step forward. The floor beneath your feet is different now. It is still mosaic, still smooth stone, but it is warm. It is not the surface warmth of sun-baked stone. This is a deep, radiating heat that comes from below. You can feel it seeping through the soles of your feet, traveling up into your ankles, your calves. It is the magic of the Hippocaust, the great furnaces burning deep underground, sending hot air through the hollow spaces beneath this very floor. You are walking on top of a hidden fire, but here, separated by layers of brick and concrete, it is just a gentle, persistent warmth. You walk slowly towards one of the marble benches that line the walls. The room is spacious, a long rectangle with a high, curved ceiling, decorated with stucco reliefs. You see faint shapes in the plaster, vines, grapes, mythological figures, but in the low light, they are just textures, patterns that catch the shadows. You reach the bench and sit. The marble is warm. It has absorbed the heat of the room and holds it, transferring it to your back and thighs. You lean back against the wall. It, too, is warm. The entire room is a battery of heat, charging the air, charging the stone, charging you. You close your eyes for a moment. The silence here is different from the palestra. Outside, there was the sound of wind and physical exertion. Here, the sound is dampened, heavy. You hear the low murmur of voices, but the words are indistinguishable. It is just a human drone, a soft vibration in the air. Somewhere, water is dripping. Drip, drip, drip. It is a slow, irregular rhythm that echoes faintly in the vaulted space. You look down at your arms. The olive oil you applied outside has changed. In the cooler air of the changing room, it was a distinct layer on top of your skin. Here, in the warmth, it seems to melt. It becomes thinner, slicker. Your skin begins to glow in the dim light. You can feel your pores starting to open, responding to the temperature. The tension in your muscles, the tightness in your neck from holding your head up all day, begins to dissolve. It is as if the heat is melting the knots in your body, one by one. There is nothing to do here. That is the beauty of the tepidarium. There is no water to plunge into, no strigil to use yet, no exercise to perform. The only task is to sit, to wait, to let the body acclimatize. You watch the person across from you. He is an older man, his eyes closed, his head tipped back against the wall. He is perfectly still, like a statue. You watch the slow rise and fall of his chest, in and out, in and out. His breathing is the only movement in the room. Your gaze drifts to the floor. You trace the pattern of the mosaics again. Here, they are different from the entrance hall. They depict sea creatures, a dolphin with a curved back, a trident, a fish with wide, staring eyes. The tiles are small, blue and green and white. You stare at a single blue tile, a tiny square of colored stone. You think about the hand that placed it there, years ago, the patience it took, the silence of the workman. Your mind feels slow, sluggish, like the oil on your skin. Thoughts come and go, but they do not stick. The worries of tomorrow, the price of grain, the letter you need to write, seem very far away. They belong to the cold world outside. Here, there is only the warmth. You shift your weight slightly on the bench. The movement feels significant in the stillness. You feel a bead of sweat, the very first one, form at your temple. It is small, barely there. It slides slowly down the side of your face, a tiny, cool sensation against the warm skin. It tickles, but you do not wipe it away. You let it fall. It is a sign that the process is working. The heat is entering you, and the impurities are beginning to leave. The air smells faintly of wood smoke here, a ghost of the fires burning below. It mixes with the smell of the oil and the clean, mineral scent of the stone. It is a dry smell, comforting and ancient. You take a deep breath, holding the warm air in your lungs for a second before exhaling. Time loses its meaning in the tepidarium. Have you been here for 10 minutes? 20? It doesn't matter. The sun outside continues its arc across the sky, but inside, it is an eternal, warm twilight. You are suspended in a moment of pure waiting. Your eyes move to the far end of the room. There is a large archway there, shrouded in a thicker, heavier mist than the air here. Through that arch lies the caldarium, the hot room. Even from here, you can sense the power radiating from it. The air ripples slightly near the entrance, distorted by the heat. That is your destination, but not yet. For now, you simply exist in the warmth. You feel the solid stone beneath you. You feel the heavy, warm air against your face. You are safe. You are calm. You are exactly where you need to be. You rest your hands on your knees, feeling the oil slick under your palms. You wait for your heart rate to slow down to match the leisurely rhythm of the dripping water. Drip, drip. The transition is almost complete. Your body is no longer fighting the temperature. It has accepted it. You are ready to go deeper. You are ready for the true heat. Slowly, reluctantly, you push yourself up from the bench. The warm stone releases you. You stand, feeling a slight lightheadedness that passes in a moment. You adjust the strap of the strigil on your wrist. You walk towards the archway, towards the heat that shimmers and waits. The tepidarium has done its work. Into the steam of the caldarium. You step across the threshold and the world changes instantly. You have entered the caldarium. If the tepidarium was a warm blanket, this is a wall of heavy, living heat. It hits you physically, pressing against your chest, your face, your eyes. It is a thick, humid embrace that stops you in your tracks for a moment. You instinctively pause, your lungs adjusting to the weight of the air. The air is wet, saturated with steam that rises from the great hot pools and hangs in the vaulted ceiling like a low cloud. The light here is different again. It is brighter than the tepidarium, for this room is positioned to face the southwest, catching the full force of the late afternoon sun. Huge windows, glazed with thick glass, allow the sun to pour in. But the light does not travel in straight lines here. It catches in the steam, scattering into a milky, golden haze. Shafts of sunlight cut through the mist, visible columns of brilliance that illuminate the swirling vapor. You can see the steam moving, slow currents of white air twisting and turning in the thermal drafts. You take a breath. The air is hot in your throat, hot in your lungs. It tastes of water and stone and wet heat. It is a thick taste, almost metallic. You exhale, and for a moment, the rhythm of your breathing is the only thing you focus on. In, out, acclimating, accepting the heat. You look down at your feet. You are grateful for the thick calluses on your soles, or perhaps you are wearing wooden sandals now, the soleil, to protect your feet from the floor. The floor of the caldarium is the hottest surface in the building. Beneath these mosaics, the fires of the Hippocaust are raging, funneled directly under this room. The heat radiates upward with an intensity that you can feel through your bones. It travels up your shins, a rising tide of warmth that meets the humid air pressing down from above. You walk further into the room. The caldarium is a large, vaulted hall. The walls are not just stone, they are alive with heat. Behind the marble facing, there are hollow terracotta tubes, the tubuli, stacking up inside the walls like a hidden chimney. The hot air from the furnaces circulates through them, turning the walls themselves into radiators. You are surrounded by heat on all sides, from the floor, from the walls, from the air. There is no escape from it, and that is the point. You are here to surrender to it. Sweat breaks out on your skin almost instantly. It is not the slow, single bead of the tepidarium. It is a sudden, profuse release. The pores of your skin throw themselves open. The sweat mixes with the olive oil, creating a slick, glistening layer that coats your entire body. You feel a droplet run down your spine, then another, then a stream. It runs down your chest, your arms. The oil and sweat drip from your fingertips, falling silently to the hot floor. You move towards the side of the room. The soundscape here is dominated by water. At one end of the rectangular hall, there is the alveus, the hot plunge pool. You can hear the water splashing against the marble steps as a bather descends. The sound is echoing, magnified by the hard surfaces and the vaulted roof, but also dampened by the thick air. It sounds distant, dreamlike. Voices are slow here. People do not talk quickly in the caldarium. The heat slows the tongue, slows the mind. Conversations are brief, murmured, lethargic. You find a space near a fluted pilaster and lean against the wall. You are careful. The marble is hot to the touch, bordering on uncomfortable, but your oiled skin protects you. You lean your shoulder against it, letting the heat from the tubuli seep directly into your muscle. It feels intense, a deep, penetrating therapy that reaches right into the joint. You look up at the ceiling. It is a masterpiece of engineering, a concrete dome that spans the width of the room without a single column to support it. The surface of the dome is grooved, designed to channel the condensation. You watch a drop of water form high above you, at the apex of the curve. It gathers size, heavy and shimmering in the steam light. Then, gravity takes it. It slides down the groove of the plaster, joining other drops, running down the curve of the ceiling towards the walls, rather than dripping on the bathers below. It is a small detail, a thoughtful piece of design that you appreciate in your slow, heated state. Your gaze drifts to the labrum at the northern apse of the room. It is a large, shallow basin made of porphyry, a deep, royal purple stone. A fountain of cold water bubbles up in its center. You watch a man approach it. He cups his hands, catching the cold water, and splashes it onto his face. You can almost feel the shock of the cold against the heat. He gasps a soft sound and shakes his head, water droplets flying into the steam. It is a moment of contrast, highlighting the intensity of the heat by momentarily breaking it. But you are not ready for the cold yet. You want to go deeper into the heat. You push yourself off the wall. Your body feels heavy, loose. Your limbs feel longer, as if the heat has stretched the ligaments. You walk towards the alveus. The hot pool awaits. Steps lead down into the water. They are wide steps, submerged in the water, which is a pale, steaming turquoise. The water is agitated, moving gently from the movement of other bodies. You stand at the edge, looking down. The steam rising from the surface of the water is thickest here. It curls around your ankles, ghost-like. You place one foot on the first step. The water is hot, much hotter than the air. It stings slightly, a sharp, delicious sensation that makes your toes curl. You pause, letting your foot adjust. Then you lower your other foot. You are ankle deep now. The heat clamps around your ankles like a solid shackle. You take another step down, shin deep, knee deep. The water swirls around your calves, heavy and buoyant. You continue to descend, thigh deep, waist deep. The water level rises, swallowing your body. You feel the pressure of the water against your stomach, your chest. It supports you, taking the weight off your spine. You reach the bottom of the steps and crouch down, submerging yourself up to your neck. The sensation is overwhelming. You are encased in heat. The water presses against you from every angle, intimate and total. You can feel your heart beating in your chest. A strong, slow thud, thud, thud. It is working hard to cool you, pumping blood to the surface of your skin. You can feel the pulse in your neck, in your temples. You close your eyes. The world disappears. There is no Rome, no emperor, no legions, no taxes. There is only the sensation of being suspended in hot liquid. The boundary between your body and the water seems to blur. The oil on your skin mixes with the water, creating a soft, silky interface. You float slightly, your toes barely touching the mosaic floor of the pool. You are weightless. You are timeless. You listen to the sounds of the water, the gloop of a ripple hitting the edge, the soft splash of a hand moving, the deep, resonant hum of the plumbing deep within the walls. It is a womb-like sound, primal and soothing. You tilt your head back, resting it on the marble rim of the pool. The stone is wet and hot. You let your mouth fall open slightly. You breathe the steam. You are melting. You are becoming liquid. You stay there, motionless, for a long time. Thoughts drift by like the steam above you, formless, white, vanishing before you can grasp them. You are simply existing in the heat, a creature of water and fire. This is the peak of the bath. This is the moment of total surrender. The ritual of the strigil. The heat has done its work. You can feel it deep within your muscles, a loosened liquid sensation that makes your limbs feel pleasantly heavy. It is time to leave the embrace of the alveus. You plant your feet on the submerged floor of the pool, finding purchase on the slippery mosaic. You push yourself up towards the steps. As your upper body breaks the surface of the water, the air of the caldarium, though still hot and steamy, feels momentarily lighter than the water that held you. You climb the steps slowly. 1, 2, 3. With each step, gravity reasserts its hold on you. Your body feels incredibly heavy, like a statue made of lead. The water cascades off your skin, streaming down your legs, returning to the pool with a soft, chaotic splashing sound. You stand at the edge of the pool for a moment, dripping. You are glistening. The mixture of olive oil, sweat, and condensation coats you entirely. It is a thick, grayish sheen now. The heat has drawn the impurities out from deep within your pores, trapping them in the oil. You are ready to be cleansed. You walk to a marble bench near the wall, away from the splash of the pool, but still wrapped in the thick steam of the room. You sit down heavily. The marble is hot, but your skin is hotter. You reach for your wrist and unloop the leather strap of the strigil. You hold the tool in your hand. The bronze is warm now, having absorbed the ambient heat of the room. It is a simple, elegant curve of metal, shaped like a sickle or a prolonged letter J. The handle is wrapped in leather to provide a grip, darkened by oil and use. It fits perfectly in your palm, an extension of your hand. You begin with your left arm. You extend it in front of you, turning the forearm so the soft inner skin is exposed. You place the curved edge of the strigil against your wrist. You apply pressure. Not enough to cut, but enough to bite into the layer of oil. You pull the tool towards you, up the length of your forearm. Scrape. The sound is distinctive. It is a wet, dull, rasping sound. The bronze edge pushes the oil, sweat, and dead skin before it, gathering it up. You watch the track the tool leaves behind. The skin underneath is pink, raw, and new. It looks clean. It feels lighter, as if a weight has been lifted from that strip of flesh. You reach the elbow and flick the strigil. A glob of dark, grayish paste, the strigmentum, flies off the blade and lands on the floor with a wet splat. A slave will come later to wash it away with a bucket of water. For now, you continue. You repeat the motion. Long, steady strokes. Scrape, flick, scrape, flick. The rhythm is hypnotic. You move to your upper arm, digging the blade into the deltoid, then the tricep. The metal glides over the contours of the muscle. It feels satisfying, a deep scratching of an itch you didn't know you had. The friction stimulates the blood flow, bringing a fresh flush of heat to the surface. You switch hands. Now you work on your right arm. The motion is mirrored, equally slow, equally deliberate. You are sculpting yourself, revealing the clean human underneath the layers of the day. Next, the chest. You pull the strigil down your pectoral muscles, over the ribs. You can feel the vibration of the metal scraping against the skin, reverberating through your rib cage. It is a visceral sensation. You clean your stomach, the blade moving easily over the softer flesh. You move to your legs. This requires more effort. You bend forward, the steam swirling around your head. You start at the ankle and pull the strigil up the shin bone. The bone is hard beneath the skin. The sensation is sharper here. Then the calf muscle, yielding and soft. Then the thigh. You scrape away the gray oil, revealing the flushed, healthy skin beneath. You see other men around you doing the same. It is a communal act of grooming, performed in a shared silence. Occasionally, you hear the clink of a strigil hitting a stone bench, or the splash of water being used to rinse the blade. But mostly, there is just the sound of the scraping. 100 blades on 100 bodies. A soft, rhythmic friction that fills the room like the sound of cicadas in summer. Your back is difficult to reach. You manage to scrape over your shoulders, reaching as far down as you can. For the rest, you could ask a slave, or perhaps a fellow bather, but today you are content with what you can reach. The heat makes you lethargic. The effort of twisting seems too great. You finish with your feet. You lift one foot onto your opposite knee. You scrape the sole, the heel, the arch. The sensation is ticklish, but intense. You clean between the toes. You are thorough. When you are done, you sit back, letting your arms hang loosely at your sides. Your skin feels raw and alive. It is tingling, pulsing with the blood that has been brought to the surface. You feel lighter, cleaner than you have felt in days. The barrier of oil is gone. Now, there is nothing between you and the steam. You look at the strigil in your hand. The blade is coated in the residue of your cleansing. You dip it into a small basin of water near the bench, swishing it back and forth. The water turns cloudy. The metal emerges clean, shining dully in the diffused sunlight. You loop the strap back around your wrist. You take a deep breath. The air feels different now that your pores are unclogged. It feels sharper, penetrating deeper. You are clean, but you are still hot. Your internal temperature has risen significantly. The heat of the caldarium has soaked into your core. You feel a thirst, a dryness in the back of your throat, despite the humidity. It is time to cool down. but not too fast. The transition must be managed. You look towards the far end of the room, where a smaller, rounded room is attached, the laconicum, the dry, sweating room. But you have had enough of the intense heat. You crave the start of the cooling process. You stand up. Your legs feel a bit wobbly, jelly-like from the heat. You steady yourself. You walk slowly towards the door you entered from, back towards the tepidarium. But you will not stop there for long. You are heading for the cold. You are heading for the shock that will close your pores and seal in the vitality. You take one last look at the hazy, golden cavern of the caldarium. The figures in the steam look like ghosts, scraping and splashing in a timeless ritual. You turn your back on the heat and step through the archway, the cooler air of the tepidarium reaching out to greet you like a fresh breeze. The shock of the frigidarium. You pass back through the tepidarium. The room that felt so warm and welcoming only an hour ago now feels strangely cool against your heated skin. Your body, radiating the intense thermal energy stored in the caldarium, meets the mild air with a sudden shiver. It is a pleasant sensation, a ripple of goose flesh that runs down your arms and spine. You do not linger here this time. You walk with a steady purpose across the warm mosaic floor, heading towards the grand archway at the opposite end of the hall. Through this arch lies the frigidarium. As you cross the threshold, the atmosphere shifts completely. The heavy, suffocating humidity of the hot rooms vanishes instantly. The air here is crisp, dry, and shockingly clear. It fills your lungs with a sudden, sharp clarity, like taking a breath on a mountain peak after days in a valley. You inhale deeply, and the coolness seems to expand inside your chest, waking up your senses. The architecture of the frigidarium is designed to impress. It is the largest, most magnificent hall in the entire complex. The ceiling soars to an incredible height, a vast cross vault decorated with intricate coffers painted in brilliant blues and reds, fringed with gold leaf that catches the light. Unlike the dim, mysterious light of the hot rooms, the frigidarium is flooded with daylight. Huge, clear-story windows high up near the roof let in the clear, unadulterated afternoon sun. The light falls in sharp, defined beams, illuminating the dust-free air. You walk onto the floor. It is cool under your feet. The mosaics here are not of sea monsters or geometric shapes, but of grand hunting scenes, intricate depictions of life and movement frozen in stone. Your footsteps echo sharply. Click, click, click. The acoustics are bright and resonant. Every splash of water, every voice, rings out with a crystalline definition. The muffled dream state of the caldarium is replaced by a vivid, high-definition reality. In the center of this cathedral-like space lies the great natatio, the cold swimming pool. It is a vast rectangle of water, deep and still. The water is not the pale turquoise of the hot pool. It is a dark, sapphire blue, reflecting the painted ceiling above. It looks heavy, cool, and uninvitingly refreshing. You approach the edge of the pool. You stand on the marble rim, looking down into the depths. You can feel the cold emanating from the water, a physical presence that rises up to meet your heated skin. You are still sweating, your internal fire still burning, but the surface of your skin is beginning to cool. This is the moment of hesitation, the moment every Roman knows, the battle between the comfort of warmth and the necessity of the cold. You know you must do it. It is essential for the health to close the pores, to harden the constitution. You sit on the edge of the pool, dangling your legs over the side. You lower your feet. Gasp. The cold is intense. It bites at your ankles, a sharp, electric shock that travels instantly up your legs. It is freezing compared to the heat you have just left. You instinctively want to pull your legs back, but you force them to stay. You grit your teeth. You watch your feet in the blue water. They look pale and distorted. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself. You place your hands on the rim and push yourself forward, sliding off the edge and into the water. The immersion is total and immediate. You drop into the cold. The water closes over your chest, your shoulders, your neck. It punches the air out of your lungs. You gasp involuntarily, a sharp intake of breath that echoes in your ears. The cold wraps around you like a suit of ice armor. It is a violent, thrilling sensation. Every nerve ending in your body fires at once. The lethargy of the caldarium is shattered. You are awake. You are alive. You push off the bottom and surface, breaking the water with a splash. You shake your head, water flying from your hair. You tread water, moving your arms and legs vigorously to generate heat. The movement feels good. Your muscles, loose and stretched from the heat, respond instantly. You feel powerful, light, agile. You swim a few strokes towards the center of the pool. The water feels silky and clean. It slides over your skin, which now feels tight and firm. The pores have snapped shut, sealing the vitality within. You turn onto your back and float. Floating in the frigidarium is a different experience entirely. You look up at the soaring vaulted ceiling, miles above you it seems. You trace the patterns of the gold leaf, the intricate rosettes in the coffers. The water supports you perfectly. The cold is no longer a shock. It has become a refreshing embrace. You feel a tingling sensation all over your body, a vibrant hum of energy. The contrast, the heat still in your core battling the cold on your skin, is exquisite. You listen to the sounds of the room. They are sharper here. You hear the slap of wet feet on marble, the laughter of a group of young men challenging each other to jump in, the echo of a conversation bouncing off the hard walls. It is the sound of the city, the sound of society, returning. You are coming back to the world. You stay in the water for only a few minutes. That is all it takes. The purpose is achieved. You swim back to the edge, your strokes strong and sure. You pull yourself up the marble steps, water streaming from your body in heavy, cold rivulets. As you stand on the pool deck, the air of the room, which felt cool before, now feels surprisingly neutral, even warm compared to the water. Your skin is cold to the touch, red and invigorated. You feel a rush of endorphins, a clarity of mind that is sharp as a knife. You walk towards a slave who is waiting with a large, thick linen towel. He hands it to you. The linen is rough and dry. You wrap it around yourself, rubbing your skin vigorously. The friction generates warmth. You dry your hair, your face, your arms. You feel renewed. The dust of the Via Nova, the stress of the market, the fatigue of the day. It is all gone, washed away in the steam and the sweat and the cold blue water. You are clean. You are revitalized. But the visit is not quite over. There is one final stage to complete the transition back to the world of men. You wrap the towel around your waist and begin to walk towards the exit of the frigidarium, towards the gardens. The walk in the gardens. You push through the high bronze doors of the frigidarium and step out into the late afternoon light. You have entered the xystus, the grand garden promenades that surround the main bathhouse block. The transition is soft and organic. You leave behind the hard, echoing surfaces of marble and mosaic and find yourself surrounded by the textures of nature. The air here smells sweet. It is a sharp contrast to the mineral scent of the steam rooms. Here, the air is heavy with the fragrance of clipped boxwood, rosemary hedges, and the resinous scent of tall cypress trees that line the pathways. The sun is lower now, painting the sky in shades of apricot and violet, casting long, dramatic shadows across the gravel paths. You walk slowly along a path lined with plane trees. Their broad leaves form a canopy overhead, filtering the sunlight into dappled patches that dance on the ground. Under your feet, the surface has changed. It is no longer the smooth, silent stone of the interior. It is fine, crushed gravel. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound is satisfyingly earthly. It grounds you. Every step sends a tiny vibration up your leg, a reminder that you are back on solid ground. You are still wrapped in your linen towel, which is now damp and heavy, clinging comfortably to your waist. Your upper body is exposed to the gentle breeze. After the intense heat of the caldarium and the biting cold of the frigidarium, the ambient temperature of the Roman evening feels perfect. It caresses your skin, drying the last few droplets of water on your back. You feel a profound sense of physical ease. Your muscles are loose, your joints move without friction, and your skin feels tight and polished. As you walk, you observe the life of the gardens. This is where the city comes to breathe. The frantic energy of the streets does not penetrate these high walls. Here, the pace is leisurely. You see pairs of men walking arm in arm, their heads bent together in low conversation. They are discussing politics, philosophy, or the price of olive oil, but their voices are hushed, respectful of the peace. To your left, you pass a row of statues. They stand on high plinths, watching the bathers with blank stone eyes. Emperors, generals, gods. You stop for a moment to look at a marble bust of a bearded philosopher. The stone is weathered, softened by the elements. A small lizard, bright green and quick, darts across the philosopher's shoulder and freezes, basking in the last rays of the sun. You watch the lizard's throat pulse. It is a tiny spark of wildlife in this manicured sanctuary. You continue your stroll. You pass a fountain, a simple basin where water trickles from the mouth of a bronze lion. The sound of the water here is different from the roar of the baths. It is a gentle musical burble, a sound that invites contemplation. You dip your hand in as you pass, just to feel the water again. It is cool, but not freezing. Further down the path, the vegetation opens up into a wider plaza. Here, people are sitting on stone benches, resting. Some are reading scrolls, holding the papyrus rolls carefully with both hands. Others are simply sitting, eyes closed, face turned towards the sun, soaking in the fading warmth. There is a shared sense of contentment here. Everyone in this garden has gone through the same ritual: the heat, the scrape, the plunge. It creates a silent bond, a collective relaxation. You find an empty bench beneath an old olive tree. The wood of the bench is smooth and silver gray with age. You sit down, leaning back. The bark of the tree behind you is rough against your shoulder, a pleasant scratchiness. You stretch your legs out in front of you, crossing your ankles. You look at your feet. They are clean, pink, and relaxed. From somewhere nearby, you smell food. It is a savory, enticing smell. Roasted sausages, perhaps, or fresh bread baked with aniseed. Your stomach gives a quiet rumble. The bath creates a hunger that is specific and deep. You know that soon you will find a vendor, but not just yet. For now, the hunger is just another sensation to be observed, not a problem to be solved immediately. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the garden, the gravel crunching under distant footsteps, the rustle of the wind in the plane trees, the faint, rhythmic chirping of crickets beginning their evening song. The world feels slowed down. The urgency of the empire has melted away. You are simply a body at rest in a garden of stone and green. You open your eyes and watch the sky. A flock of birds wheels overhead, black silhouettes against the deepening blue. They turn as one, a fluid shape shifting in the air, before diving down towards the city roofs beyond the walls. You feel a kinship with them. You too are drifting, caught in the gentle current of the evening. You wrap the towel tighter around your waist. The sun has dipped below the wall now. The air is cooling. It is time to move on to the final stages of your visit. But you take one last moment to memorize the peace of the garden, to store it inside you against the noise of the city you must eventually return to. You stand up, the gravel shifting under your weight. You brush a stray leaf from your shoulder. You turn back towards the monumental buildings of the bath complex, ready for what comes next. The silence of the library. You leave the gravel paths of the garden behind, wiping the last of the garden dust from your feet on the stone threshold. You're heading towards one of the large exedrae that flank the main bathing block. The architecture here changes again. It becomes more enclosed, more intimate. You are entering the cultural heart of the complex, the bibliotheca. As you push open the heavy bronze doors, the sound of the outside world is cut off with a finality that is almost startling. The chirping crickets, the wind in the trees, the distant chatter, all of it vanishes. You are left in a profound, heavy silence. This is not the humid, echoing silence of the tepidarium, nor the wet, splashing silence of the pools. This is a dry, dusty silence. It is the silence of thought, of paper, of accumulated centuries. The air here is cool and smells distinctively different from the rest of the baths. It smells of cedar wood, sharp and resinous, used to build the shelves to keep the worms away. It smells of old papyrus, a dry, grassy scent that tickles the back of your nose. And underneath it all, there's the faint, metallic tang of iron gall ink. It is the smell of knowledge. You stand in the center of the room. It is a rectangular hall, lined from floor to ceiling with wooden cabinets, the armaria. They are made of rich, dark wood, polished to a high sheen. Each cabinet has numbered doors, some open, some closed. Inside the open ones, you can see the honeycomb-like pigeonholes, and resting within them, the round ends of hundreds of scrolls. They look like logs stacked for a fire, but these are logs of words. The light in the library is carefully controlled. There are no direct sunbeams here that might fade the ink or brittle the paper. Instead, the light comes from high, north-facing windows, a steady grayish-blue light that illuminates the room evenly. It falls across the long wooden tables that run down the center of the hall. You walk towards the shelves. Your bare feet make no sound on the floor, which is covered here in woven reed mats to dampen the noise. You run your hand along the wood of a cabinet. It is smooth, cool, and solid. You read the small ivory tag hanging from a shelf. History, The Punic Wars. You pause. You reach out and select a scroll. It is lighter than you expect. You hold the wooden knobs, the cornua, at either end of the roll. They are painted black and feel smooth against your thumbs. You carry the scroll to one of the reading tables. You sit on a simple wooden stool. The table in front of you is scarred with the marks of stylus tips and ink spills, the history of other readers etched into the wood. You place the scroll down. With a gentle movement, you begin to unroll it. Crackle. The sound is dry and brittle. The papyrus is old. You unroll it slowly, using your left hand to hold the beginning and your right hand to unfurl the rest. The text reveals itself in columns. The letters are written in a neat, angular hand, the black ink standing out sharply against the beige fibers of the plant. You do not read the words for their meaning, not really. You simply look at the shapes of the letters, the curve of an S, the sharp lines of an M. You trace a line of text with your eye, following the rhythm of the writer's hand from centuries ago. Dust motes float in the air above the table, suspended in the stillness. You watch one speck of dust drift down and land on the margin of the scroll. You blow it away gently. It lifts and dances in the air again. There are a few other men in the room. A scholar in the corner, hunched over a map, tracing a coastline with a bony finger. A young student, lips moving silently as he memorizes a verse of poetry. But no one speaks. There is no eye contact. Here, everyone is alone with their thoughts. The only sound is the occasional rustle of a turning page or the soft scratch of a stylus on a wax tablet. You lean forward, resting your elbows on the table. The atmosphere is soporific. The intellectual weight of the room presses down on you gently. Your eyelids feel heavy. The excitement of the cold plunge has faded, replaced by a calm, studious lethargy. You stare at the fibers of the papyrus, seeing how they crisscross, how the ink has bled slightly into the grain. You read a sentence. The legions marched at dawn, the dew heavy on the grass. You imagine the scene, the quiet clinking of armor, the mist rising from the fields. The image is hazy, dreamlike. It blends with the reality of the room you are in. You sit there for a long time, the scroll open before you. You are not studying. You are resting your mind. The bath cleansed your body. The library cleanses your thoughts. It strips away the trivial, leaving only the quiet permanence of the written word. Eventually, you decide you have seen enough. You carefully re-roll the scroll. It takes patience to align the edges, to make sure it rolls tight and true. You feel the tension in the paper as you wind it back onto the central rod. When it is a closed cylinder again, you stand up. You walk back to the armoria. You slide the scroll back into its pigeonhole. It fits with a soft thump. It is back in its home, safe among its brothers. You look at the wall of scrolls one last time. Thousands of lives, thousands of stories, all sleeping in the cedar cabinets. You turn away from the shelves. The silence of the library clings to you as you walk towards the door. You feel calmer, slower. Your movements are deliberate. You push the bronze door open again, and the faint hum of the bath complex returns. But it seems distant now, less important. You are ready for the final indulgence. The body is clean, the mind is quiet. Now, it is time to attend to the muscles. You head towards the small curtained alcoves near the exit of the main building. The heavy hands of the masseur. You step away from the intellectual quiet of the library and move towards the perimeter of the bath complex. Here, set into the thick walls, are a series of smaller, semi-private alcoves. These are not grand halls with vaulted ceilings. They are low, intimate spaces separated from the main corridor by heavy tapestries of thick, woven wool. You pause before one of the curtains. It is dyed a deep, rich burgundy, heavy with dust and the scent of herbs. You reach out and push the fabric aside. The metal rings scrape softly against the pole above. You step inside. The room is small and dim. The daylight from the gardens does not reach here. Instead, the space is lit by 2 oil lamps sitting in niches on the wall. The flames are small, steady tongues of orange fire. They cast long, flickering shadows that dance gently on the plaster walls. The air here is thick and fragrant. It does not smell of the plain olive oil you used in the palestra. It smells of luxury. There is the scent of rose petals steeped in oil, a hint of spicy saffron, and the deep, grounding aroma of frankincense. It is a smell designed to induce sleep, to weigh down the eyelids. In the center of the room is a low wooden table, padded with leather that has been polished smooth by years of use. Standing beside it is the masseur. He is a man of immense proportions, his arms thick with muscle, his skin glistening in the lamplight. He does not speak. He does not need to. He simply gestures to the table with an open palm. You drop the linen towel from your waist. You lie down on the table, face down. The leather is cool against your stomach, but it quickly warms to your body temperature. You rest your chin on your crossed arms. You close your eyes. The darkness behind your eyelids is filled with the after-images of the flickering lamps. You hear the masseur moving. The floorboards creak faintly under his weight. You hear the pop of a cork being pulled from a flask. Then the sound of liquid being poured. He rubs his hands together. Swish, swish, swish. The sound is loud in the small room. He is warming the oil, generating heat with friction before he touches you. Then his hands descend. He places them on your shoulders. They are heavy, incredibly heavy. It feels as if 2 sandbags have been placed on your back. He holds them there for a moment, motionless, letting the weight sink in, grounding you to the table. The heat from his palms seeps into your skin. Then he begins to move. He starts at the base of your neck. His thumbs dig into the trapezius muscles, finding the knots of tension that have hidden there all day. He pushes down, deep, rotating his thumbs in slow, grinding circles. It is a sensation on the border of pain and pleasure, an exquisite pressure that forces the muscle to surrender. You exhale a long, shaky breath. With that breath, the tension leaves. He works his way down your spine. He uses the heel of his hand now. He presses into the muscles that run alongside the vertebrae. He moves slowly, inch by inch. You can feel every ridge of your own back mapped out by his pressure. He reaches the small of your back and pushes hard, stretching the skin, lengthening the spine. You feel taller, looser. The rhythm of the massage is hypnotic. It is a slow, oceanic rhythm. Push, release, push, release. It matches the slow beating of your heart. You find your mind drifting. The thoughts that you had silenced in the library now disappear completely. There is no past, no future. There is only the sensation of the hands on your back. He moves to your arms. He lifts your left arm, manipulating it as if it were a lifeless object. He kneads the bicep, shakes out the wrist, pulls gently on each finger. Pop, pop. The joints release their air. Your arm falls back onto the table, feeling limp and jelly-like. He repeats the process with the right arm. Now, the legs. The masseur moves to the foot of the table. He grips your calves. His hands are like iron clamps, but they are not rough. They are skilled. He works the oil into the skin, sliding his hands up to your thighs and back down to your ankles. The friction creates heat. Your legs feel heavy, anchored to the wood. He picks up your foot and presses his thumb into the arch. It is a sharp, sudden pressure that sends a shiver up your leg, followed by a wash of relaxation. The scent of the rose oil is overwhelming now. It fills your nose, fills your throat. It is sweet and heavy. It makes your head feel pleasantly foggy. You are floating in a cloud of scent and sensation. The masseur begins the tapotement, the rhythmic percussion. He cups his hands and begins to strike your back. Thump, 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 thump. The sound is hollow and rhythmic, like a fast drum beat. It vibrates through your chest cavity. It is not painful. It is invigorating. It wakes up the skin, bringing fresh blood to the surface. The rhythm is constant, a rapid-fire patter that drowns out any remaining thoughts. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the drumming stops. Silence rushes back into the room, louder than before. The masseur places his hands on your back one last time. He performs long, sweeping strokes from your neck all the way down to your heels, connecting the whole body, smoothing out the energy. He does this 3 times. Each time, his touch becomes lighter, ghostly, until finally, he lifts his hands away completely. You lie there. You are unable to move. You do not want to move. Your body feels like it is melted into the leather of the table. You are a puddle of warm, oiled relaxation. You are breathing deeply, your stomach pressing against the table with each inhalation. The masseur taps the table gently. It is the signal. It is done. It takes you a moment to summon the will to move. You push yourself up slowly. Your arms feel rubbery. You sit on the edge of the table, your head spinning slightly from the relaxation. The room seems darker than before. The oil lamps have burned lower. You look at your skin. It is glowing, saturated with the expensive scented oil. You smell like a garden. You feel like a king. You stand up. Your feet touch the floor, but you barely feel the impact. You feel weightless, as if you are walking on air. You reach for your towel and wrap it around yourself again. The masseur is already cleaning his hands, wiping the oil away with a rag. He nods to you, a silent dismissal. You step back out through the curtain. The corridor outside feels cooler now. You have been dismantled and put back together. You are soft. You are open. You are ready for the slow, leisurely process of returning to the world of clothes and society, but you will carry this heavy, sweet relaxation with you. You turn towards the dressing rooms, moving with the slow, gliding gait of a man who has no worries left in the world. The scent of the pupina. You drift away from the massage alcoves, your body feeling loose and restructured, wrapped comfortably in your linen towel. The scent of the rose oil still clings to your skin, a sweet floral aura that follows you as you move. But as you walk down the corridor, a new scent begins to compete with the perfume. It is a primal, savory smell that wakes up the dormant hunger in your stomach. It is the smell of roasting meat, of toasted grain, of sharp garlic, and salty fish sauce. You are approaching the Pepina, the snack bar nestled within the bath complex. It is a transition from the spiritual quiet of the library and the hushed intimacy of the massage room back to the world of earthly needs. You round a corner and there it is. The Popina is an open-fronted shop spilling out onto a small terrace. The counter is a massive L-shaped slab of marble, stained with the ghosts of 1,000 spilled wines and oils. Embedded into the countertop are large terracotta jars, the dolia, sunk deep into the stone to keep their contents either hot or cold. Steam rises from one of the jars, curling up into the air in wispy gray ribbons. You walk towards it. The vendor is there, a man with a stained apron and forearms as thick as the masseur's. He is moving with a rhythmic efficiency. Chop, chop, swipe. He is slicing herbs on a wooden board. The sound of the knife hitting the wood is a sharp staccato beat in the humid air. You step up to the counter. The stone is cool under your elbows as you lean against it. You look down into the open mouths of the jars. In one, there are chickpeas swimming in a thick golden broth. In another, a dark red wine, watered down and spiced with honey. In a third, there are sausages, the botulus, simmering in their own juices. They are dark, glistening, and split slightly at the seams from the heat. You catch the vendor's eye. You do not need to shout. You simply point a languid finger at the sausages and a loaf of round bread stacked on a shelf behind him. He nods. He reaches for a pair of long iron tongs. Sizzle. He pulls a sausage from the heat. The sound of the fat dripping onto the coals below is a brief, angry hiss. He places the meat onto a piece of coarse pottery. He grabs a loaf of bread, tearing it open with his hands. The crust cracks with a satisfying crunch. He places the bread beside the meat. He ladles a small amount of garum, the fermented fish sauce that is the lifeblood of Roman cuisine, over the sausage. The smell is pungent, salty, and incredibly appetizing. He slides the plate across the marble counter towards you. You reach into the fold of your towel, where you have tucked a small leather pouch. You fish out a few copper coins. Asses. They are small, warm from being against your body. You place them on the counter. They make a dull clink. The transaction is done. You take your plate and turn away from the counter. You find a spot to sit on a low stone wall nearby, overlooking the walkway where other bathers are passing. You are in no rush. Eating here is not just about fueling the body. It is another sensory experience to be savored. You pick up the bread. It is still warm from the oven. The crust is hard and dusted with flour, but the inside is soft and airy. You tear off a piece. You look at the texture of the crumb, the small air pockets trapped in the dough. You put it in your mouth. It tastes of wheat and fire. It is simple, honest food. You chew slowly, letting the saliva break down the starch. Then, the sausage. You use your fingers. There are no forks here. The skin of the sausage is snappy. You bite into it, and the flavor explodes. Pork, pine nuts, pepper, and the salty tang of the garum. It is rich and fatty. The juice runs over your fingers, hot and greasy. You do not mind. You lick the grease from your thumb. It is part of the experience. You watch the world go by as you eat. A group of friends stands near the counter, laughing softly, cups of wine in their hands. A slave runs past, carrying a stack of clean towels, his sandals slapping against the floor. The air is filled with the low hum of satisfaction. This is the sound of a city at rest. You take a sip from a cup of water you requested. It is cool and cleanses the palate, washing away the grease. You feel the food landing in your stomach, a heavy, comforting weight. The lethargy returns, deeper this time. It is the postprandial dip, the natural desire to sleep after eating. Your eyelids feel heavy again. The energy you gained from the cold plunge is mellowing into a sustained, warm buzz. You look at the last piece of bread on your plate. You use it to mop up the remaining sauce and juices on the pottery. You wipe the plate clean with the dough, leaving nothing behind. You eat the final morsel. It is the best bite. You sit there for a while longer, your hands resting on your knees. You feel a profound sense of completeness. You have been heated, frozen, scraped, oiled, massaged, and now fed. Every need of the human animal has been met. There is nothing left to want. You watch a fly buzz lazily around a drop of wine on the counter. It lands, rubs its front legs together, and drinks. Even the fly is taking its time. The sunlight is fading now, the golden hour turning into the blue hour of twilight. The shadows in the corners of the room are lengthening, stretching out like fingers. You wipe your hands on a scrap of cloth provided by the vendor. The grease is gone, but the smell of the spices lingers faintly on your fingertips, mixing with the rose oil. It is a complex, human scent. It is time to dress. The ritual is nearing its end. You cannot stay in this towel forever. The outside world, the world of togas and duties, awaits. But you will move towards it slowly. You stand up from the stone wall. You leave the empty plate behind. A slave will collect it. You adjust your towel and begin the walk back towards the apoditerium, the changing room where you began this journey. The path back feels different now. You are not the same person who walked in. You are slower, heavier, softer. You walk past a mural on the wall depicting a feast. You smile at the painted figures, frozen in their eternal meal. You understand them now. You turn the corner, the sound of the snack bar fading behind you into a gentle murmur, and head towards the quiet of the locker room. The slow return to cloth. You walk back into the apoditerium. The room has changed since you left it hours ago. When you arrived, it was filled with the golden, dusty light of the afternoon and the bustle of men arriving. Now the light is different. The high windows show a sky that is a deep, bruised purple, fading into twilight. The room is darker, more shadowy. Oil lamps have been lit and placed on iron stands in the corners. They burn with a steady, yellow flame, casting long, dancing shadows across the vaulted ceiling. The noise has changed too. The frantic energy of arrival is gone. The men here now are like you, finished, slow, moving with a liquid grace. The conversation is a low murmur, a soft drone that blends with the sputtering of the lamps. You walk across the mosaic floor towards your niche. The black and white tiles feel cool under your feet, but your body is so warm from the bath that the cold is pleasant. It grounds you. You reach the section of the wall where you left your belongings. The capsarius, the slave guarding the clothes, is still there. He looks tired now, his posture slumped on his stool. He sees you approach and gives a small nod, a silent acknowledgement that you are reclaiming what is yours. You stand before the stone cubbyhole. Your tunic and sandals are there, folded exactly as you left them. They look like artifacts from a previous life, objects belonging to the person you were before the heat and the water transformed you. You unwrap the damp linen towel from your waist. The air of the room touches your skin, cool and still. You are naked again for a brief moment, standing in the semi-darkness. You look at your arms. In the lamplight, your skin looks polished, renewed. the rose oil has been absorbed, leaving only a faint, healthy sheen and that lingering, sweet scent. You feel taller, your spine elongated by the massage. You reach into the niche and pull out your tunic. The fabric feels different now. Before, it was just clothing. Now, against your heightened tactile senses, the linen feels complex. You feel the weave of the thread, the slight roughness of the fibers. It feels dry and substantial. You pull the tunic over your head. It slides down your body, a cascade of fabric. It settles on your shoulders, a familiar weight. You adjust the folds, smoothing it down over your chest and hips. The sensation of the cloth dragging lightly over your clean skin is vivid. It is the first layer of armor being put back on, the first step in shielding yourself from the world again. Next, the belt. You take the leather strip and wrap it around your waist. You do not pull it tight. You leave it loose, comfortable. You tie the knot slowly, your fingers moving with deliberate precision. Loop, pull, tighten. The leather creaks softly. You sit down on the stone bench to put on your sandals. The stone is hard, but your muscles are so relaxed that you barely notice the unyielding surface. You lift your left foot. The sole of your foot is pink and clean. You brush off a single grain of sand from the garden. You slide your foot into the sandal. The leather straps are cool. You begin to lace them up. You wrap the long thongs around your ankle, crossing them over the instep. The motion is repetitive and soothing. You are binding yourself back to the earth. You tie the knot at the ankle, tucking the ends in neatly. You repeat the ritual with the right foot. Now you are shod. You stand up and stamp your feet gently on the floor. Tap, tap. The sound is sharper now that you are wearing shoes. You are no longer a creature of the bath. You are a citizen again. You reach into the niche one last time to retrieve your cloak. The evening air outside will be cool, and your body, open and warm, needs protection. You shake the cloak out. It is made of heavy wool, darker than your tunic. You swing it around your shoulders. It settles heavily, a warm embrace. You pin it at the shoulder with a bronze fibula, the metal pin sliding through the thick wool with a soft snick. You stand there for a moment, fully dressed. You take a deep breath. The air in the apoditarium smells of lamp oil and damp stone, a smell that signals the end of the day. You feel a deep, resonant calmness. The frantic thoughts that plagued you on the walk here are gone, washed away down the drains of the caldarium. In their place is a quiet, empty space, a space ready for rest. You look around the room one last time. You see a young man just arriving, hurriedly unbuckling his sandals, rushing to catch the last heat of the day. You feel a distant sense of pity for his haste, but mostly you feel a serene detachment. You have done the work. You have completed the cycle. You check your pouch, ensuring your coins are safe. You run a hand through your hair, which is still damp at the ends. It feels cool against your neck. You turn towards the exit, not the door that leads to the baths, but the door that leads back to the street. The heavy bronze doors are open, revealing a rectangle of deep blue twilight. You can hear the city again, but it sounds different now. It is not a chaotic noise. It is a distant, rhythmic hum, like the ocean. You walk towards the door. Your movements are slow, measured. The heavy wool of your cloak swings gently around your legs with each step. You are a warm, solid presence moving through the shadows. You pass the threshold, leaving the sanctuary of the apoditerium behind. You step out onto the portico stairs. The air outside is fresh and carries the scent of wood smoke from cooking fires across the city. The transition is complete. You are out, but you are not the same. You carry the bath within you, the heat in your bones, the silence in your mind, the cleanliness on your skin. You look down the steps towards the street. The journey home awaits, but it will not be a march. It will be a slow, drifting walk through the sleeping city. The journey through the twilight city. You step off the final step of the bathhouse portico, and your sandals make contact with the basalt paving stones of the street. The transition is absolute. Behind you rises the massive, silent bulk of the Thermae, a mountain of brick that glows faintly from the fires still burning deep within its belly. Ahead of you lies the city of Rome, now draped in the heavy cloak of twilight. The sun has vanished completely below the horizon. The sky is no longer blue. It is a deep charcoal gray, sitting low over the rooftops. The stars are beginning to prick through the haze, faint pinpricks of white light that struggle against the glow of the city's lamps. You wrap your heavy woolen cloak tighter around yourself. The air on the street is significantly cooler than the air inside the baths. It has a bite to it, a damp chill that rises from the Tiber River and settles in the valleys between the 7 hills. But you do not feel cold. The heat of the caldarium is still stored deep within your core, radiating outward. You are like a walking furnace, a self-contained bubble of warmth moving through the cool evening. You begin to walk. The street, the Via Nova, is different at night. During the day, it is a river of shouting people, carts, animals, and dust. Now the tide has gone out. The crowds have dispersed into the taverns and the insula. The street feels wider, emptier. You walk down the center of the road. You watch your footing. The basalt cobbles are polygonal, fitting together like a giant dark puzzle. They are polished smooth by centuries of wagon wheels. In the dim light, they shine like the backs of wet beetles. You place your feet carefully. Step, adjust, step. You can feel the unevenness of the stones through the leather soles of your sandals. It is a familiar texture, the rugged skin of the city. The light on the street is patchy. There are no street lights here. Illumination comes from the open doorways of shops that are still doing business, casting rectangles of yellow light onto the dark stones. You pass a bakery. The shutters are half closed, but through the gap, you can see the glow of the oven. The smell of baking bread drifts out, warm and yeasty, mixing with the cool night air. It is a comforting, domestic smell. You pass beneath the looming shadow of a tall insula, an apartment block that rises 5 stories into the dark sky. It is a cliff face of brick and timber. You can see flickering lights in the upper windows, tiny oil lamps burning on windowsills. You hear the muffled sounds of life from within, a baby crying softly, the clatter of a pot, a burst of laughter. These sounds are distant, separated from you by thick walls and the height of the building. They are simply part of the ambient texture of the night. You are walking slowly. There is no need to rush. The frantic pace of the Roman day is forbidden here. You are in a state of grace, carried by the momentum of the bath. Your arms swing gently at your sides beneath your cloak. Your breathing is deep and even, matching the rhythm of your stride. A dog trots out from an alleyway ahead of you. It pauses, looking at you with reflective eyes. It is a street dog, wiry and cautious. You do not stop. You simply continue your steady, rhythmic walk. The dog senses your calm, your lack of threat. It lowers its head and trots past you, disappearing into the shadows of a side street. You turn a corner, leaving the wider avenue for a narrower vicus, a neighborhood street. The buildings here lean closer together, blotting out the stars. The darkness deepens. You rely on your knowledge of the path, your muscle memory guiding you over the stones. Ahead, you see the lantern of a vigil's patrol, the night watchmen of the city. They walk in a small group, their hobnailed boots crunching loudly on the stones. They carry buckets and axes, always on the lookout for fire. As you pass them, the leader lifts his lantern. The light swings across your face, dazzling you for a second. He sees your clean toga, your calm demeanor. He nods. You nod back. They pass, their footsteps fading into the distance behind you, leaving you alone in the quiet once more. The silence of the street is heavy. It is not a true silence, but a hush. The city is murmuring in its sleep. You can hear the wind whistling softly through the eaves of the buildings. You can hear the distant rush of water in an aqueduct overhead. These sounds are soothing, a white noise that wraps around you. You feel the weight of your limbs. The massage has left your muscles loose and heavy. Your legs move automatically, swinging forward like pendulums. You are tired, but it is a good tiredness. It is a clean exhaustion. Your body is ready to stop, ready to lie down. You look up at the strip of sky visible between the roofs. The moon has risen, a pale gibbous crescent. It casts a silver light on the terracotta tiles of the roofs, turning them into a sea of cold metallic scales. You are getting closer to home. You recognize the landmarks. The fountain with the worn stone face on the corner, the shrine to the Lares, the neighborhood gods, set into a wall, with small offerings of flowers wilting in the night air. You touch the wall of the shrine as you pass, a habit, a small gesture of respect. The stone is rough and cold under your fingertips. You turn into your own street. It is quieter here, away from the main thoroughfares. The buildings are lower. You can smell the damp earth of a nearby garden. You feel a sense of arrival beginning to settle over you. The journey is almost done. The sanctuary of the home is waiting to receive the sanctuary of the body. You slow your pace even further. You want to hold on to this moment, this feeling of being clean, warm, and solitary in the ancient dark. You take a deep breath of the night air, tasting the cooling city one last time before you go indoors. The sanctuary of the domus. You stop before a heavy wooden door set into the brick facade of the building. The wood is dark oak, reinforced with iron bands that have rusted to a deep, flaking orange. This is the boundary. This is the threshold between the public world of the empire and the private world of your rest. You reach into the folds of your tunic and withdraw a large iron key. It is heavy in your hand, cold and rough. You feel the teeth of the key, the complex pattern of metal designed to fit only one lock. You locate the keyhole in the dim light. It is a small, dark mouth in the wood. You guide the key in. Metal scrapes against metal, a harsh scratching sound in the quiet street. You turn it. The mechanism inside is heavy and stiff. You apply steady pressure. Clunk. The bolt slides back. The sound is solid and satisfying. You push the door open. It swings inward on heavy hinges, groaning softly, a low vibration that you feel in your hand. You step across the threshold and into the darkness of the hallway, the fosses. You turn back immediately to close the door. You push it shut. The heavy wood meets the frame with a dull thud that seals the opening. You turn the key again, locking the bolt back into place. Clunk. The street is gone. The wind is gone. The city is gone. You are inside. The air here is still. It is warmer than the street, holding the residual heat of the day within the thick walls. It smells of beeswax polish, dried herbs, and the faint, smoky scent of an oil lamp that has recently gone out. It is the smell of home. You stand in the hallway for a moment, letting your eyes adjust to the profound darkness. Gradually, shapes begin to emerge. The outline of a bench, the curve of a wall. You know this space by heart. You could navigate it blind. You move forward into the atrium, the central hall of the house. It is a square space, open to the sky in the center through the compluvium in the roof. A square of moonlight falls onto the floor, illuminating the shallow pool, the impluvium, that sits directly below it. The water in the pool is perfectly still, a sheet of black glass reflecting the moon above. You walk towards a small table near the wall, where a clay oil lamp sits waiting. Next to it is a small bowl containing a smoldering piece of charcoal, buried in ash to keep it alive. You pick up a sulfur-tipped splint of wood. You uncover the charcoal, blowing on it gently. The coal glows a dull red, then bright orange. You touch the splint to the ember. A small blue flame sputters into life. You transfer the flame to the wick of the oil lamp. The wick catches. The flame grows, steady and yellow. A circle of warm light expands around you, pushing back the shadows. The light flickers gently, making the painted walls of the atrium seem to move slightly. The reds and ochres of the frescoes glow in the lamplight. You pick up the lamp. The terracotta is warm in your hand. You carry it with you, a small personal sun. You walk towards the lararium, the small household shrine set into a niche in the wall. Inside stand the small bronze figurines of the lares, the guardian spirits of the house. They stand in their dancing poses, holding drinking horns. You pause before them. You do not pray aloud. You simply bow your head for a second, a silent gesture of gratitude for the safety of the roof, for the peace of the night. The shadows of the little gods stretch long and thin against the back of the niche. You feel a thirst. The walk has been dry. You move to a side table where a glass pitcher of water and a cup stand. You lift the pitcher. The water glugs softly as you pour it into the cup. You watch the liquid swirl, catching the lamplight. You lift the cup to your lips. The water is cool, tasting faintly of the clay of the pitcher. You drink slowly, feeling the cool liquid slide down your throat, settling in your stomach. It is refreshing and simple. You set the cup down. The sound of the glass touching the wood is the only noise in the room. The silence of the house is deep. It is a protective silence. The thick walls dampen all noise from the outside world. Here, time moves at your own pace. You unpin the bronze fibula at your shoulder. The heavy woolen cloak slides off your back. You catch it, folding it roughly over your arm. You feel lighter instantly. The weight of the walk is removed. You are now just in your tunic, your body free and unencumbered. You place the cloak on a wooden chest. You run your hand over the lid of the chest. The wood is smooth, worn satin soft by years of touching. You look towards the doorway that leads to the cubiculum, the bedroom. It is a small room, dark and inviting. The curtain across the doorway is drawn back slightly, revealing the darkness within. That is your destination, the final station of the night. But you do not rush. You stand in the atrium for one last moment. You look at the square of night sky above the pool. The moon has moved slightly. The stars are shifting. The universe is turning slowly, silently overhead. You feel small but safe, anchored in your home, anchored in your body. You pick up the lamp again. Your shadow swings across the floor as you turn. You walk slowly towards the bedroom, the light guiding your way into the deeper comfort of sleep. The silence of the cubiculum. You cross the threshold into the cubiculum. This is the smallest room in the house, a space designed for a single purpose: rest. Unlike the grand, open atrium with its high ceiling and pool of water, the bedroom is intimate and enclosed. The ceiling is lower here, vaulted and painted in a deep, soothing blue, speckled with tiny gold stars to mimic the night sky you have just left behind. The walls are thick, insulating you from even the faintest sounds of the household. You place the oil lamp on a small wooden tripod table beside the bed. The flame flickers for a moment, disturbed by the movement, before settling back into a steady, teardrop shape. It casts a warm, amber circle of light that illuminates the bed. The lectus. The bed is a heavy, solid piece of furniture made of dark walnut wood. Its legs are turned and carved, resting on bronze feet that grip the mosaic floor. It stands high off the ground, a raised island of comfort. You look at the mattress. It is thick, stuffed with soft wool from the sheep of Tarentum, known for their fleece. It looks inviting, a soft landscape waiting to receive you. But first, the final shedding of the day. You sit on a small stool near the foot of the bed. You bend down to reach your sandals. Your fingers, now clumsy with sleepiness, fumble slightly with the leather thongs. You untie the knots you made in the apoditerium. You loosen the straps. You slide the sandals off your feet. Thud, thud. They hit the floor softly. You wiggle your toes, enjoying the freedom. Your feet are bare against the cool stone one last time. You stand up. You untie the leather belt around your waist. It falls away, a coil of brown snake on the floor. You grab the hem of your tunic. You pull it upwards, over your chest, over your head. You emerge from the fabric. You fold the tunic simply and place it on the stool. You are naked now. The air in the room is still and tepid. There is no draft here. The room holds a comfortable, stable temperature. You feel the air touching your skin, the skin that was scrubbed and oiled and massaged. It feels sensitive, alive, and ready to be covered by the sheets. You approach the bed. Because it is high, there is a small wooden step to help you ascend. You place your foot on the step and hoist yourself up onto the mattress. The mattress yields under your weight. It is not soft like a cloud, but firm and supportive. The wool compresses, holding you. You can hear the faint rustle of the stuffing as you settle. You lie back. The sensation is immediate relief. Your spine, which has held you upright through the walk, through the bath, through the day, finally relaxes completely. You feel the tension draining out of your neck, your shoulders, your lower back. You sink into the bed. You reach down and pull up the straglum, the coverlet. It is made of fine wool, dyed a deep crimson. It is heavy. You pull it up over your legs, your waist, your chest. The weight of the blanket is comforting. It presses down on you gently, a physical reassurance. Underneath, the sheet is made of Egyptian linen. It is cool and smooth against your skin, a crisp texture that contrasts with the warmth of your body. You adjust your pillow. It is filled with goose feathers, softer than the mattress. You punch it gently to create a hollow for your head. You lay your cheek against the linen case. It smells of lavender and dried verbena, herbs that were packed with the linens to keep them fresh. The scent is faint, dusty, and floral. You inhale it deeply. It signals to your brain that the day is over. You lie there for a moment in the semi-darkness, looking at the lamp. The flame is the last living thing in the room. It dances silently, consuming the oil. It is a tiny companion. You watch the way the light reflects off the bronze fittings of the bed, creating small glints of gold in the shadows. You know it is time. You do not need the light anymore. You reach out a hand from under the warm covers. Your arm feels heavy, moving through the air like it is moving through water. You bring your hand close to the lamp. You can feel the heat radiating from the small flame. You take a short, soft breath. You purse your lips. Puff. The flame vanishes. The darkness is instantaneous. It is not a frightening darkness. It is a velvet curtain falling over the world. For a second, the image of the flame lingers in your vision, a ghost of blue and orange floating in the black. Then, that too fades. You are left in total, absolute blackness. The room is windowless, or the heavy shutters are barred tight. No moonlight enters here. There is no visual stimulation left. Your eyes remain open for a moment, searching for a shape, a line, a shadow. But there is nothing. The visual world has ceased to exist. Now, your other senses take over. You smell the smoke from the extinguished wick. It is a sharp, acrid ribbon of scent that curls through the lavender air. It hangs for a moment, a gray smell, before dissipating into the room. You hear the silence. It is a heavy, thick silence. The walls of the cubiculum are doing their work. The city is miles away. The house is asleep. The only sound is the sound of your own body. You hear the blood rushing softly in your ears. Swish, swish. You hear the slow, rhythmic intake of your breath. In, out. You roll onto your side. The mattress creaks, a tiny wooden sound that emphasizes the quiet. You curl your legs up slightly, seeking the warmth of the pocket you have created under the heavy wool covers. The linen warms up quickly against your skin. You are a cocoon of heat in the cool room. You close your eyes. It makes no difference to the darkness, but it is the final signal of withdrawal. You are no longer looking out. You are looking in. Your mind begins to replay the sensations of the day, but they are distant now, like memories from a long time ago. The heat of the steam, the shock of the cold water, the scrape of the strigil, the smell of the rose oil, the taste of the bread, the crunch of the gravel. They swirl together, a slow, colorful soup of feelings. You feel a heaviness behind your eyes, a physical weight pressing your eyelids down. Your jaw unclenches. Your tongue falls away from the roof of your mouth. Your fingers curl loosely into the palm of your hand. You are drifting. You are floating on the surface of the dark pool of sleep. The bed holds you. The house protects you. The empire watches over the streets outside. But in here, in the cubiculum, there is only you in the dark. You are ready to let go. You are ready to sink. the descent into somnus. The darkness is now a physical substance. It fills the room, fills your eyes, fills your mind. It is soft and heavy, like the wool of your blanket, but infinitely lighter. You are no longer looking for anything. You are no longer waiting for anything. The day is done. The history of the day has been written, and the scroll is rolled shut. Your breathing settles into a rhythm that is automatic and slow. Inhale, gentle rise of the chest. Exhale, long, slow release. With every exhale, you feel your body sinking deeper into the mattress. It feels as though the bed is rising up to meet you, dissolving the boundary between your skin and the linen. You feel the weight of your feet. They have walked the stone streets, the mosaic floors, the gravel paths. Now they are still. The muscles in your arches relax. The tension in your ankles unspools. They feel heavy, as if they are made of warm stone. That sensation of heaviness travels up your legs. Your calves, which felt the scrape of the strigil, are now loose and dormant. Your thighs are heavy logs sinking into the soft earth of the mattress. The warmth of the bed surrounds you. It reminds you, faintly, of the heat of the caldarium. But this heat is not demanding. It does not make you sweat. It simply holds you. It is a dry, safe heat. It penetrates your bones, quieting the marrow. Your hands are resting loosely. The fingers that held the oil flask, the strigil, the bread, the key, they are now empty. They are curled and soft. You lose the sense of where your hands end and the bed begins. Your arms are heavy weights by your side. Shoulders drop away from your ears, sliding down, down, down. Your mind begins to untether itself from the room. The walls of the cubiculum fade away. You are no longer in a house in Rome. You are floating in a vast, dark space. Images from the day drift across your mind, but they are slow and silent. You see the steam rising from the hot pool, but it is silver now, not white. It swirls in slow motion, forming shapes that dissolve before you can name them. You see the blue water of the cold pool, deep and still. You feel the sensation of floating again, weightless in the cool water, looking up at the painted ceiling. The sounds of the day return as a distant echo. The click of sandals on stone, the splash of water, the hum of the furnace. They are not loud. They are like the sound of the sea heard from far away, a gentle, rhythmic washing sound. Shh, shh, shh. Your thoughts become slippery. You try to think about tomorrow, about the forum, about the market, but the thought slides away like oil on wet skin. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. The only thing that exists is this moment of comfort, this moment of dark, warm silence. You feel a pleasant numbness spreading through your body. It starts at your toes and moves up, a wave of relaxation that shuts down the nerves one by one. The world of sensation is turning off. The world of doing is over. The world of being is all that is left. Your eyes are heavy, sealed shut by a glue of sleep. Even if you wanted to open them, you couldn't. The effort would be too great. You are content to leave them closed. You are watching the back of your eyelids, where faint patterns of light, purple and gray, pulse slowly in time with your heart. The darkness deepens. It wraps around you like a second skin. You feel safe. You are protected by the walls, by the night, by the sleep that is coming. You are drifting on a river, a dark subterranean river that flows beneath the city. It carries you gently, without turbulence. You are a leaf on the surface of the water, spinning slowly, drifting, sinking. The architecture of your mind begins to crumble softly. The arches fall into dust. The columns lie down. The logic of the waking world dissolves. Words lose their meaning. There is no language here, only feeling, only the deep, resonant hum of the body at rest. You are going to a place where there are no emperors, no soldiers, no noise, a place of ancient, timeless quiet. You take one last conscious breath. It is deep and satisfying. As you let it out, you let go of the last thread of awareness. You release your hold on the room. You release your hold on yourself. You fall, slowly, gently, into the velvet dark, down, 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 into the silence, into the stone, into the sleep. If this journey through the duller side of history helped you unwind and maybe even drift off, please let me know. First, hit that like button if you enjoyed this historical lullaby. Second, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future installments of history too boring to keep you awake. Finally, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below about which historical topic you find so mundane. It deserves to be our next sleepy video. Your suggestions will shape our journey into the world's most delightfully dull past.